Here's the truth nobody tells you. Winning the lottery won't keep you rich. Getting a high-paying job won't guarantee wealth. In fact, that's why 80% of people who make sudden money lose it all within a few years. Because the real difference between staying broke and staying rich isn't the money itself. It's the mindset behind it. Millionaires think about money in ways the average person doesn't even imagine. And today, I'm going to take you inside that hidden playbook. 7 millionaire mindset secrets that not only build wealth, but keep it. Some of these are simple shifts anyone can make. Others are so powerful, they'll feel uncomfortable at first, almost like they're rewiring your brain. But once you see them, you'll never look at money the same way again. And I'll warn you now, secret number 3 is the one that shocks most people. It's the exact opposite of how society teaches us to think about wealth, and it may be the reason you've been stuck where you are. Here's why you can't afford to skip a second of this video. We're not just talking about habits like save money or work hard. You've heard those a million times. What I'm about to share are the exact mindset shifts that separate people who keep their wealth from people who lose it the moment life changes. By the end of this video, you'll know why millionaires never treat money the way you've been taught to, how they train themselves to see opportunities that most people walk right past, and the one shift, secret number 3, that banks, corporations, and even schools hope you never discover. Because once you get this, you'll see money for what it really is. Not just paper, not just numbers in an account, but a tool that can completely rewrite your future. Stay with me, because every secret builds on the last. And trust me, by the time we hit the 7th one, you'll feel like you've been handed the keys to a completely different financial world. Let's take a step back for a moment. Why are we even talking about mindset? Isn't money just about working harder, saving more, and investing smart? That's what most people believe, and yet most people struggle their entire lives, living paycheck to paycheck, never breaking free. Meanwhile, others with the same income, the same education, sometimes even less, quietly build fortunes. The difference? Mindset. Think about it. There's the young athlete who signs a $20 million contract, but within 5 years, he's broke, borrowing money just to survive. Then there's the janitor who never earned more than $40,000 a year, but retires with millions in investments. It doesn't make sense unless you understand that it's not how much you make, but how you think about what you make. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If your mindset hasn't changed, even a windfall won't save you. Studies show that 80% of lottery winners end up bankrupt within a decade. Why? Because their habits, their beliefs about money, their psychology didn't shift. On the flip side, millionaires and billionaires are playing a completely different mental game. They don't see money as something to spend. They don't see wealth as something to flaunt. They see money as a tool, a servant, something that multiplies when you use it right. And here's where the gap widens. Most people are taught from childhood to play it safe. Get a job, collect a paycheck, spend what you earn, and maybe save a little if you can. But the wealthy? They were trained themselves to think differently. One group sees money as a ceiling. The other sees it as a ladder. And over the next 7 secrets, I'm going to break down those differences one by one, starting with the first mindset that almost every millionaire swears by, and yet most people can't bring themselves to practice. Secret number 1, millionaires master the art of delayed gratification. Now, that might sound simple, but it's the difference between staying broke and quietly building wealth. Here's the reality. Most people live in a cycle of earn, spend, repeat. Every paycheck feels like oxygen. The moment it comes in, it's already gone. A new phone, eating out, little splurges that feel good in the moment but leave nothing behind. Millionaires flip this script. They train themselves to push back the desire for instant pleasure so they can build something much bigger. Let me give you a story. Imagine 2 friends, David and Chris. Both earn the same $50,000 salary. David upgrades his car, buys the latest gadgets, and takes vacations he really can't afford. He feels rich in the moment, but 10 years later, he has nothing to show for it but debt. Chris does something different. Every month, he sets aside 20% of his paycheck. No flashy car, no designer clothes. His friends laugh at him, call him cheap. But what they don't realize is that Chris is quietly investing. A decade later, while David is still stuck in the paycheck cycle, Chris has built a six-figure portfolio. That's delayed gratification in action. And here's the kicker. Brain science backs this up. Remember the famous Stanford marshmallow experiment? Kids were given one marshmallow, but told if they could wait 15 minutes, they'd get two. Decades later, the kids who waited scored higher in every area of life. Better jobs, higher incomes, stronger health. Millionaires play the same game with money. But here's the trap nobody talks about. Delayed gratification isn't about denying yourself forever. It's about trading now for later. Millionaires don't say, "I'll never spend." They say, "I'll wait until my money multiplies, then I'll spend from the gains." Think about that. The average person buys a car the moment they want one. A millionaire waits, invests, lets that money grow, and then buys the same car years later, using profits instead of paychecks. Once you rewire your brain for delayed gratification, the next secret becomes possible. And this one is the biggest leap. It's about breaking free from the paycheck mindset completely and stepping into ownership. Secret number 2, millionaires value ownership over labor. Here's what I mean. Most people are taught to trade time for money. Work an hour, get paid an hour. Clock in, clock out. It feels safe, predictable, but it's also a trap because there are only so many hours you can work and your income will always be capped. Millionaires, they think differently. They don't just ask, "How much can I earn?" They ask, "What can I own?" Here's a vivid example. Picture Maria, a cashier working 40 hours a week. Every week, she earns just enough to cover rent, groceries, maybe a small treat. But when the week ends, so does her income. If she stops working, the money stops. Now, picture the store owner. She doesn't work the register. In fact, she might not even be in the store most days. But she owns the business. Every sale, every transaction, she gets a cut. The cashier works for money. The owner makes money work for her. This is the millionaire mindset shift. Stop thinking like labor, start thinking like ownership. It doesn't always mean owning a massive company. It could be shares in a business, dividend-paying stocks, rental property, or even intellectual property. The point is, it's not about how hard you work, it's about whether you're building something that pays you even when you're not working. Ownership isn't just about income, it's about control. Workers live by someone else's decisions. Hours cut, layoffs, pay freezes. Owners? They call the shots. Think about the difference in life paths. The average worker spends 40 years building someone else's dream. The millionaire spends 10 years building ownership, and then lets ownership pay for the rest of their life. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. Most people resist this idea. They cling to the safety of a paycheck, even if it means staying stuck forever. Millionaires embrace risk, but they manage it smartly. They know the only real security comes from owning the game, not just playing in it. Which brings us to the next secret, one that flips the way most people think about success. Because millionaires don't just own assets, they play a very different game when it comes to time. And it's a game of decades, not days. Secret number 3, millionaires play long-term games. Now, this might be the most uncomfortable shift of them all, because we live in a world obsessed with speed. Quick money, quick wins, instant gratification. Social media screams, "Get rich in 30 days." But the truth? Wealth that lasts is built in decades, not days. Here's the difference. Most people chase the short-term payoff. They invest in hype stocks, gamble on trends, and panic when the market dips. But millionaires? They zoom out. They know that wealth compounds over time, and the biggest returns come to those who can wait. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine 2 investors. James dumps $5,000 into the latest hot stock he saw on TikTok. A year later, it's worth pennies. Meanwhile, Linda puts $5,000 into a boring index fund. 10 years later, that $5,000 has quietly grown to over $13,000. 20 years later, it's worth over $34,000. Who really won? Millionaires understand this law of compounding like it's a religion. They don't get rich by predicting every twist and turn. They get rich by staying in the game long enough for time to do the heavy lifting. Take the example of the businessman who once said, Our success is measured in decades. His company wasn't profitable for years. People laughed, critics mocked. But because he played the long-term game, today that company dominates industries across the globe. Long-term thinking isn't just about money. It's about life. Millionaires are willing to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term freedom. While most people ask, what feels good this weekend? Millionaires ask, what sets me free 10 years from now? This is why secret number 3 is so dangerous, because once you shift in a long-term mode, you stop chasing quick fixes. You start building empires. And that leads us to the next mindset secret, one that millionaires quietly live by, but almost no one else sees. Because it's not just about growth, it's about survival. And it's called protecting the downside. Secret number 4. Millionaires don't just focus on how much they can make. They obsess over protecting the downside. Here's the truth most people ignore. Wealth is fragile. One bad decision, one careless risk, one blind gamble, and everything can vanish. That's why the rich play defense just as much as they play offense. Think about it. The average person invests in whatever's trending. Crypto spikes? They throw in their savings. Housing boom? They buy at the peak. But when things crash, they're left holding the bag, and many never recover. Millionaires play by a different rule. Never risk what you can't afford to lose. Let's make this real. Imagine Tom, a regular worker who put every penny of his savings into a single stock. For a year, he felt like a genius. His account tripled. But then, the company collapsed, and Tom lost it all. Meanwhile, Karen, earning the same salary, diversified her money across index funds, bonds, and real estate. When the market dipped, she took a hit, but her wealth stayed intact. That's protecting the downside. And here's the kicker. Millionaires expect losses. They don't fear them. They plan for them. They keep emergency funds. They insure their assets. They spread risk across multiple baskets. Because they know the road to wealth isn't about avoiding failure. It's about surviving it. A famous investor once said, if you avoid ruin, wealth becomes inevitable. That's the mindset. The average person asks, how much can I make? The millionaire asks, how much could I lose? And can I survive it? Protecting the downside doesn't just save your money, it frees your mind. Because once you know you can't be wiped out, you gain the courage to chase bigger opportunities. Which takes us to secret number 5, the shift that turns problems into fortunes. Millionaires don't run from problems. They run toward them. Secret number 5, millionaires live in a mindset of abundance, and they treat problems as opportunities. Most people see money as limited. They think, if you win, I lose. They believe wealth is like a pie. If someone else takes a bigger slice, there's less left for them. That's a scarcity mindset, and it's the exact reason so many stay stuck. Millionaires think differently. They know money is created, not just divided. They look at problems, even massive ones, and ask, how can I solve this? Because solving problems at scale is what creates wealth. Take this story. Years ago, a woman noticed parents in her neighborhood struggling with affordable childcare. Instead of shrugging off, she started a small daycare from her living room. It grew into a chain of centers across her city, now generating millions. What looked like a problem to everyone else was an opportunity to her. Here's the abundance mindset in action. When others see obstacles, millionaires see leverage. When others panic, millionaires innovate. And here's the twist. This isn't about greed. It's about contribution. The bigger the problem you solve, the more lives you impact, and the more money flows back to you. One billionaire once said, if you want to make $1 billion, help 1 billion people. That's the formula. Abundance alone isn't enough. Millionaires know that who you surround yourself with can either multiply your success or quietly destroy it. Which leads us straight into the next secret. Secret number 6. Millionaires understand the power of networks and environment. Here's a harsh truth. Your circle is either keeping you broke or pushing you toward wealth. Most people surround themselves with friends who think small, complain often, and normalize living paycheck to paycheck. Hang around that mindset long enough, and you'll start believing it's normal too. Millionaires take the opposite approach. They deliberately build circles that challenge them, stretch them, and expose them to bigger opportunities. They know proximity is power. Think about this. If 5 of your closest friends are out of shape, chances are you will be too. The same is true with money. If 5 of your closest friends are broke, struggling, or afraid of risk, chances are you'll play it small. But if 5 of your closest friends are building businesses, investing, and pushing forward, you'll rise with them. This isn't theory, it's psychology. Humans mirror the people around them. Millionaires hack this by carefully curating their environment. They attend masterminds. They network intentionally. They even move to cities where wealth and opportunity are concentrated. And here's the emotional twist. Sometimes this means letting go of old circles. It hurts, but millionaires know that staying tied to people who pull you down is the fastest way to stay stuck. Networks multiply opportunities, but there's one final mindset shift that ties everything together. Because the most successful millionaires don't just rely on others. They reinvent themselves constantly. And that's the 7th and final secret. Secret number 7. Millionaires never stop reinventing themselves. Here's the mistake most people make. They hit a certain point, a promotion, a business win, maybe even a 6-figure bank account, and they stop growing. They think, I've made it. But in a fast-changing world, standing still is the same as moving backward. Millionaires know this. That's why they're obsessed with lifelong learning. They devour books, they study new industries, they adapt when trends shift. If their first idea fails, they reinvent. If the economy changes, they pivot. If technology evolves, they evolve with it. Think about all the businesses that disappeared because they refused to adapt. Video rental stores, outdated tech companies, even once great retail giants. Then think about the ones that survived, the leaders who weren't afraid to reinvent themselves, sometimes more than once. That's the secret. Millionaires don't see learning as optional. They see it as survival. They don't just protect wealth, they grow it by staying relevant. Constant reinvention doesn't just apply to money. It applies to life. Millionaires ask themselves, how do I become better this year than I was last year? That question keeps them moving, keeps them curious, and keeps them rich. And now, with all 7 secrets revealed, we've reached the most important part, tying them together into the exact steps you can use to transform your own financial future. So let's pull it all together. 7 millionaire mindset secrets. Each one simple, but life-changing if you actually apply them. First, delayed gratification, trading short-term pleasure for long-term freedom. Second, ownership over labor, building equity instead of just collecting paychecks. Third, playing long-term games, letting time and compounding do the heavy lifting. Fourth, protecting the downside, never risking it all on one bad bet. Fifth, abundance and problem solving, seeing money as created by solving challenges. Sixth, leveraging networks, surrounding yourself with people who multiply your vision. And seventh, constant reinvention, staying relevant by learning and evolving, always. Here's the key lesson. Wealth isn't just numbers in a bank account. It's a way of thinking. If you shift your mindset, the money will follow. If you don't, even millions can slip right through your fingers. The difference between broke and rich isn't luck. It's mindset. And now, you have the playbook. And now you know the 7 millionaire mindset secrets that don't just make you rich, they keep you rich. But here's the thing, mindset is just the beginning. The real transformation comes when you see how ordinary people, janitors, cashiers, teachers, applied these exact principles and quietly built millions. Their stories will blow your mind. So don't stop here. If this opened your eyes, wait until you see my video, the janitor who secretly built a $5 million fortune. Click here right now to keep watching, because that story proves anyone can do this. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join this community. Every week, I share the strategies and stories that can help you escape the paycheck trap and step into lasting wealth. Your next breakthrough is one click away. Don't miss it.